Hey guys, welcome to the next part of the Hack and Slash tutorial series. In this video, we're going to work on the launching system to launch our enemies into the air. And we are also working on improving the soft targeting system. So now it's a lot better. You don't get much of that snapping to the same target. If we find a new target, we're just going to change the target. Nothing more is there to be said. If there's a target actor, we can move backwards and hit the light attack and it'll launch into the air. If we hit an enemy, he'll launch with us and he can fall, same thing. Works with any enemy. Go. So if you guys want the project, join me on Patreon. Without further ado, let's get started. So welcome back. In the last video, we worked on our softlock system, so we can target a enemy depending on our movement direction. There's a bit of slight issues that we're going to address today during the collision detection to change targets. Sometimes the same enemies gets hit from a collision, so you get that bit of snapping to different targets. We're going to address that today. Also, we are going to work on our launching system. First things first, let's head over to our enemies and get that bit of issues fixed before we move on. So let's open up our base enemy. I'm going to head to the event graph, and right around here we're going to make a we do have a buffer system here. Okay, so I guess we just need to increase that buffer here. So when we take damage, it's death before we play animation, we should play the buffer. And then right here, or we should stop the buffer first. So if it is currently playing, we should stop the buffer and then we should play it again. And let's give it like a value of 5. Now when we hit the enemy, I want the enemy to rotate towards the player, just so that we don't have to worry too much about this buffer system, as it does get the actor forward vector. So if we hit the enemy from behind, the character will move behind and it'll still collide with the player. So let's make a basic actor rotation here. Set actor rotation. So let's make that right around here. So I'll just set actor rotation, and then we can get a fine look at, break this off, make rotator. So actually we need to split this first. Split struct, make rotator. And we are only going to need the yaw of this, the blue pin, the Z, there it is. And then everything else, get after rotation. And we're going to split the struct, and we're just going to plug this all in. This is going to be get after rotation. And then for the target, we're going to get our damage causer and get actor location. And let's make a reroute pin here. I have to remove all this stuff down. There we go. Let's make a reroute pin. Let's tidy this up a little bit. Alright. So now we can plug this make rotator into the set active rotation. So now the enemy should rotate towards the character whenever he's hit. Let's give that a bit of a quick test. So if I hit an enemy, there we go. Nice. Now I don't see that the buffer system is working at all. If it's not equal to 0, we should play it. Plus equals time. Plus times, yep, that should be right. Let's give it like a distance of 50. See if it even works. Test it. So it does even work at all. Not one single bit. But the code is being called. So let me F9 on here to make a breakpoint and see if it even calls the function. Feeling that it's not. Okay, so it is calling the function. So we stop the buffer. Stop the buffer before we play from start. Check the timeline. It's got a timeline in it. The alpha, current actor location, forward vector times the distance, add it onto the actor location. Very interesting. Let's try just calling the buffer system instead of stopping it. Give it like a distance of 5. Just make it observed number. If it works, it will just send the character flying. Then we'll know it'll be working. Something is not working here. Character forward vector. Right here. So here we'll actually need to multiply this by a -1. So actually we don't need. Yeah, you know what? Make for simplicity, just make it easy for us. Just multiply this by -1 before we multiply by our distance. That way the enemy will get pushed, would move backwards. So we can just set this back to like 500. Now it should be working. There you go. So the character is getting pushed back. So now let's test this with just. Okay, 10 feels okay, but I feel like the sliding, there's quite a lot of sliding. So let's 0.1, change to 0.1 as well. Let's give that a roll. Now 10 feels a little too little. I like the speed, so maybe just 25. Alright, nice. So let's see if that fixed the issue with the softlock system. Save all our stuff. I'm gonna change this to on success only. So if I give this a run, so I hit this target and then change target. Nice. So I'm not getting that issue, not as much anyways. Yeah, so I'm not getting that issue all that much. We could actually do some tweaking here for the softlock system, so let me pop that open. Find softlock target, draw debug. Another thing we can do is either ignore our last target. I don't know why I'm lagging. Our scalability is set pretty high. Let me drop that a little bit down to medium. That should help. There you go. Much better. So yeah, it's still hitting it. Not all that much, but still a little bit. So this is what I'm gonna do. So if we do have an existing target, let's check something is valid. Okay, so what we're gonna do is actually check if our softlock target is valid. So softlock, we're gonna check if the softlock actor is valid. So if it is valid, then we want to set another actor, another variable. Let's call this last softlock actor. Make this an actor, and we're gonna set this. And after we set this, set the softlock to our last softlock target. So maybe I should name that target, or we should keep that actor. It's either way. And then we're gonna grab the original, not the last, just the softlock target actor. Want to set that to whatever we hit. Now we should also do that on the false, on the invalid. So we should only set the last softlock actor if there is an existing softlock target. So what we're going to do is over here in the is valid, we also want to clear. Actually, we should only clear that on reset state. So in the reset state, softlock actor, there should be a reset target. So let's collapse this into a function and call reset target, or reset softlock target. So right here, we're going to reset all our softlock variables. We also have a new one. There you go. Let's reorganize this a little bit. Out. Now inside the targeting for the softlock, pull that out real quick, find softlock target. We also want to ignore the soft target actor, soft target enemy. What's the difference? Slash character is valid. Okay, so this one just sets this target, which we use for the rotation. Okay, so we're gonna add another pin here, and we're gonna plug in our last soft locked actor, just so we ignore whatever actor we hit before. And so if we want to switch targets, we'll ignore the last actor as well. So there you go, I have an actor. There you go. So there's no more of that weird snapping that we had before. The buffer system helped. This new extra bit of code helped. Now only if I ever hit the actor. It's quite long. Now another thing is that rotation. So let's change this. So right here during the rotation, you see the character change rotation midway. So I kind of don't like that. So I'm going to change it a little bit. So right here under our rotate to target, if our soft target actor is valid, cast to an enemy, check its state. And then we set it to the soft target enemy. And so that means that our enemy, let's see, soft lock enemy, target, and we use a not equal here. And then let's get soft target actor. It's not equal. Oh, so we can. So what we're gonna check is whether or not our timeline is running, and if it is running, we don't want to switch targets yet. So right here, let's see. And if we do, we should stop the timeline first and then figure out if we want to replay it or just have the code let it replay on its own. So let me see. We set the target here and then we stop it before we play it. And this timeline gets called every time we attack. This event gets called every time we attack. So we'll always have to cast to something and then we always have to check. So if our soft lock target no longer equals. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make another branch here in the update pin, and then we're just gonna check whether or not our soft lock target still is the target enemy. So right here we're gonna do a equal, or yeah, if it's equal, then we'll do a branch. And then we're gonna plug in our soft lock target actor. Only if it is equal, then we should do the rotation. If it's not, I'm gonna make a print string here, and then we're just gonna hit F9 to make a breakpoint. What I want to know is whether or not this actually works. And we're gonna get some sort of issue. Let's compile. If it wants to load, it might crash. So Unreal Engine did crash and I had to reset the engine. So right here, as I was saying, we're gonna actually check whether or not the current enemy target is equal to our soft lock target. Because if it does change midway, we don't want the character to snap to the new target. Just want to keep it the same target. And I feel like that shouldn't happen, as we already set this once. And it doesn't get reset again until the event gets called. But if that was the case, then either way, let's just give this a try, see if this ever actually gets called. Because based on what I made here, this part here, it should never actually call this print string. I'm going to make a breakpoint just to see if it actually does get called. Get an error, target. There you go. Okay, now let's give this a shot. So I'm going to soft lock this target. Yeah, so it never actually gets called, which should be correct. Okay, so maybe we don't need this set of code. I just feel like this is just snapping a little bit. I mean, it's because this value is set to 1 or 0. It's very short. Maybe let's bump this up a little bit. Maybe that might help. Okay, now let's see what this does. Okay, Okay, now I'm on epic again. Hold on, let me change scalability back to medium. I'm not running on that much power. I'm not running on a very powerful PC, so it's gonna get some bugs. Okay, let me increase the size of this trace just for testing purposes. I know this video is about the launching system, and I'm really working on this soft lock systems, but don't worry, we're gonna get there. I want to make sure this system is good enough so that we can continue. Just don't like leaving things halfway done and look half-ass. Okay, you can target another character. If I hit that target, oh, so that's the new soft lock target. Okay, hold on. The reason why we can't change targets because our last soft lock target was set to the last soft lock actor, and when we set it, this got cleared. Okay, so we never clear our last soft lock target until we reset the state, and so that's going to be a bit problematic. So actually, we can do it. We can reset it here. Let's grab that variable. We're going to reset it if we fail to hit anything. So if we didn't hit anything, we want to reset that. If we didn't hit anything, we want to clear that. If we are already targeting a character, we want to clear this as well. So let's see if that works and if we still have that weird issue. Okay. No, we target. Okay. Yeah, so everything seems to be working. Alright, this is a lot better. Let me drop that targeting distance back to its original. Let me up the radius. Give this one more quick test. Yeah, so it's working really, really well. Did I just see a bug? Did I just see the same issue that we were trying to fix happen again? Okay, maybe let's drop this down to like 80. That should fix any bugs if there's any. Okay, target enemy. Yeah. I still don't like how that's doing that. So let me actually one last change. Rotate the target. Let's make this 0.1. Make it a lot faster. So maybe the timeline doesn't change. Okay, let's keep that enemy. Okay. Yeah, so that's a lot better. Okay, we solved the issue. Now let's get back onto the main topic of this video. Let's work on that launching system. Get the event graph. Close everything to the right. Let's save everything real quick. Alright, now let's head over to our light attack event graph. So let's see, we hit light attack and we check whether we can or cannot attack. Alright, perfect. So right here, after we check whether or not we can attack, well, depends how you want to do this. If you want your regular combos, like your light and heavy combos to take priority, you would leave this in front. But if you want your launching, like the launch attack to take priority, then you put this in front. So that's what I'm going to do. I want the launching to be higher priority than the regular combos. So I'm going to put it up front. So let me move this down a little bit. So see, we can make a function. So we're going to determine desired attack. So we determine the desired attack based on movement. So let's head back to our main event graph into our movement. So I think we just get IA, so IA, move, and yes, we can get the action vibes. Okay, that's perfect. So let's see, which one's forward backwards? So the Y is the forward backwards. Perfect. So we're gonna get our movement enhanced input and we're gonna break it. We don't think we need to pull off anything. If you're using UE4, you can use the old method of getting your input values, but in UE5 it's a lot more simpler. We're going to need the Y, so we need to check that. So if it's less than or equal to a number. So if it's less than, and remember it's got to be a negative because we want the character to be moving backwards. So maybe negative 0.5. and we're gonna make a branch. Before we do anything, I just want to check if this even works. So I want to plug that into our light attack event. So right here, we're gonna call that function, determine desired attack. And then we're just simply gonna print string whether or not we can or cannot attack that. So print string, let's just say can launch. So that's all I'll say. If we can launch, yeah, so we can launch the enemy. Now, one thing we want to do is always check for this determine desired attack. I only want whatever's in this function to be called only if we are targeting. Thankfully, it's very simple. We have a boolean for that, and it's called is targeting. So if you are targeting, we should be able to call this. So now if I try moving backwards and try clicking, I won't get that function call. But if I am targeting and I move backwards, I get that call. Let's disable that soft lock. Find soft lock target. Let's disable the draw debug. Okay, perfect. So it's working. Remove that. Now, one thing I need to do is make a return value. So we're going to grab a return node and make a return a boolean, and it's going to be anything played. What's return is whether or not anything was played. So if we are not targeting, then nothing will play. And so in the light attack event graph, we're gonna make a branch here. And if anything did play, then we would ignore it. But if nothing played, then we can continue. So yeah. So if nothing played, we can continue. Was something played? False. True. I don't like how I have to use the false print, so let's just make a not boolean here. So if it's false, it's true. If it's true, it's false. I was thinking about how I can make that return value be some sort of value where I can just plug it in and go through it true without using the not boolean, make it like a different name, so it makes it easier, but it's alright. So now if I try to perform a launching attack, I will not play any attack at all. Hold on. Interesting, hold on. Oh yeah, that's right. Return. We need return false. Played anything? If we played nothing, hold on. Getting this mixed up a little bit. Played anything? False. We didn't play anything, so that would go through. Played anything? Yes, we did play something. Okay. So now we shouldn't be getting that call. It's target actually. Target enemy. Okay, we're targeting. And we're not getting a call. Oh yeah, that's because there's no print string. Okay, I deleted that. Okay, so it should be working. We tested that already. All right, let's move on. So let's make another function. This will be launch character or launch attack. Now for this part, it's pretty simple. Let's head over to our perform light attack. Let's copy all of this. We won't need half of this. We just need certain stuff. I just don't want to. So we don't need this variables of getting whatever, anything. Let's remove all of these. Anything with arrays or regarding arrays, you can remove all of those. All of this, indexes, everything gone. Okay, now in the launch, one thing we need to check is whether or not we have a launching animation. So let's see, do we have a light attack? Yep, so all our animations are in here. So we need a launch animation. Let's make this anim montage. And we always need to check validation. Always check all your variables for validation before using them. So if it's valid, then we play, we set our state to attack. We don't need a buffer, and we can just play the attack. Now we will be needing another timeline, and we will be needing to launch the character up. So we will just make like an event outside of this function, because functions can't have latent functions in it. So we can do that outside, make a custom event, and just call that custom event in here. For now, this will work. Let's string real quick. So what this will do is no launch. I spelled that wrong. Animation. Make that red, 10 seconds long. Just so we will never miss this call. And then we also want a return node here. Now you can either make a Boolean return node as well, similar to here. And so if the launch attack does fail, like it doesn't have an animation, then the character should just play a normal attack or something. That's totally up to you. I don't think I want that, so I'm just going to keep that empty for now. For this, let's give ourselves a launching animation just so we can see what it looks like. Or if it even plays at all. Pretty sure it would though. Attacks, which should be a launch. There it is. So let's create anim montage, calls am_launch. Make sure root motion is enabled. There you go, motion is enabled. Now let's plug this in. Wrong character, so let's delete that. Let's close out the enemy. There you go. Now we should play the launch animation, but then we can only play it once because our state never reset it. After we call the function. Something I always keep forgetting. Alright, so the function will get called now, so we should play the animation. Let's target an enemy. Now let's try. There you go. A couple things missing, obviously. So let's address those first. So open the anim notify up or animation montage. Let's open another one just for reference. And pretty much we need to copy most, if not all, of this stuff in there. So let's paste this here. Probably the hardest part in game development, just this manual work. 2, changing the blend space or blend out. Hopefully it looks a bit nicer. We don't need to allow root motion rotation, so we don't need to add that. None of these. Actually, we might need to, but for now, let's ignore those. Weapon collision. Yes, we need a weapon collision, obviously. Let's make a new track. Paste. So right around here. And this, we will need another damage type. So let's open create child blueprint class. BP underscore or BT launch. And we need a damage type enum, call it launch. And then in that damage type, we need to plug in that variable, change it, launch. Alright, now we need to set it. If it shows up, there it is, okay. Now let's move all this other stuff, we don't need that. Rotation to target, yes, that is very important. Paste. Right around here, sure. Soft lock, nope. Escape dodge, probably not. Okay, let's see this in action, should work. So we have a target, there you go. Okay, it's working, nice. No, enemy, nope. Enemy hit reaction is not valid. That should be correct because we don't have a launch up. All right, now we're gonna launch the player, but instead of actually calling the function, I mentioned that earlier, we're actually gonna make an anim notify and launch it within the montage itself. So we can make a spot where the character would actually levitate off the ground. Instead of having code control that, we're gonna have the animation control it. It would be a lot better. So right here, we're gonna make a custom event. Call this launch character, launch player. Player. Okay, so we're gonna make a timeline. Make a new timeline and name it launch character. Or fine, just call it launch attack. That doesn't even work either. Okay, launch. Okay, gosh darn, that was quite stressful. Okay, now first things first is we need to figure out where we're gonna launch upwards towards. So let's make a variable and call it location, launch location, and make this a vector. And we're gonna set this. And I think we can just set this to our get actor location. Location, and then just add something to the Z. Maybe like some value. 500. Alright, that's just for testing purposes. You're gonna need to tweak that, possibly, maybe. And then here we're gonna set after location, sweep, of course, and then alert vector. And then we need to plug in the launch location into, how's this go again? Alert between A and B. 100% when A, and so it alerts from A to B. So okay. So our launch location, get after location, and then let's make a float. Float track, make this maybe 0.25, quarter of a second. Let's call this alpha. Make 2 keys, same thing, 0, 0, and then 0.25 and 1. Ouch. 1. Okay. Here in our event graph, we're gonna plug in the alpha to the alpha. And let's make an anim notify and see if it works. Make another anim notify. _launch. Open the receive notify. Change this to launch player. Okay, now we're gonna add this notify here. It should go right after the attack, so there. I'll see how this looks. Okay, so our location's not being updated. Sweet. Let's see, is this even being called? F9. Make a breakpoint, gets called. No, it doesn't even get called. How funny. Oh, that's the wrong one. Place with launch character. There you go. That's the reason why. Wasn't even the right anim notify. Okay. Probably too fast and definitely wrong timing. So let's make this 0.5. Scroll out on here. 0.5. Let's push back this anim notify a little bit. So maybe right about there. Hopefully. Okay, it's a lot better. Still don't like it at all. Let's see. Maybe it's not right around here. So let's say right around here. Then we should launch right around there. Let me modify some of the timeline here. 0.75. See if that's any better. And then for the launch attack, let's lower the distance or the height. 2500 or 250, not 2500. Let's see, what else can I change? It's also change this a little bit. Shorten this to 1. Hopefully that makes it any better. Okay, hold on. That's even worse than the last time. It feels super off. Let's change that back to 0.5. I changed the value of the height, so maybe that we don't need to change this any further. 0.5. Okay, it's not bad. Okay, not bad. Okay. Okay, yeah. So another thing is probably to set the movement mode to flying until the character falls. just so that we don't get that snap. So let's see if we could get that to work right now. So head over to attack. Okay, launch. On finished, we want to set movement mode. Character movement. Actually, no, let's not set it here. Let's set it when we actually play the attack. So right here, after we play the attack, let's set the movement mode to flying. So by setting it to flying, the character will not fall. So he will stay at the same Z level. I think the timeline will still allow us to move up and down, but this will prevent us from actually falling. But we need to fall eventually, and so in the reset state, let's reset our movement mode. So set character movement mode, and let's set it back to walking. Or we can set to falling. Let's set it to falling, and then we can, yeah. Now the issue with this is that if we reset our state in the air, we can attack while we're falling back down. And so later we're going to implement something here to check. So we, instead of resetting it on the anim notify, we're going to reset when we land onto the ground. For now, let's just see if this works. Okay, it's a lot better. Let me change this blend out. I feel like it's too snappy. There's a lot of motion in that part though. Okay, let's see. Let's close all this down. Play in the big viewport. It's a lot better. Absolutely better. So let's actually open that animation back up. Speed up the animation. See if that makes any better. 1.15. Nice. Okay, not bad. Once we have like actual air attacks, it'll definitely look better. As you can see, the character tried to walk in the air. We're also gonna fix that in the future once we start getting like into the actual aerial combat. For now, let's leave it at that. Okay, we won't be able to attack. We'll be able to dodge. No. Okay, so thankfully our save or our can attack functions prevent us from attacking the air. So that's good. It's good news. We should be able to double jump though. So wrong key. There we go. Now if we attack, okay, we can double jump. We cancel the double jump. Oh, yeah. So it's working great. Now let's add the reactions for our enemies, because the enemy's gonna need to do the same. Now to save us a bit of pain, we're gonna actually just copy the launch player upwards animation or timeline event, and let's paste that into our enemy. Open our enemy, paste that in the damage event. Do we even have one? Because this one's getting pretty large. The damage, okay, maybe we don't. Buffer, character, play animation montage, get hit reaction. Okay. Okay, so let's actually paste this right here. No biggie. We'll figure out the cleaning up part once we actually get there. Speed launch enemy. We are going to promote this to variable. Everything should be good. Timeline, so just call launch. Okay, let's see. Now the thing is, we don't want to call the buffer if we are about to launch. Actually, we could. Let's leave it in for now and let's see how it works. So right here, we're actually going to call launch enemy before we return the variable. So right here, we launch enemy, return, and then we need to create a hit reaction launch. So HR underscore launch. Let's give him an animation. Assets animations. Should be this one. Hit reactions air. There you go. Which one is it? Should be this one. This one's a knockdown. Okay, yep, this one should be it. Create and a montage. AM underscore HR launch, or just call it HR air hit. What do I call the other ones? It's a good idea to always keep a consistent naming convention. HR middle. Did I not? Oh yeah, this is the base enemy. So let me open up the other enemy real quick. Dummy. Call it AM enemy middle. Okay, let's call it that too. No biggie. So let's call it AM underscore enemy air. Simple. Make sure root motion is enabled. It's very important. Now we need to head over to our dummy and add that in after we compile. So here, death, launch, call air, go. Now let's see if that works. Should. Yeah, it does work. Now the enemy does not fall back down quickly. And he does play the animation fast. And when I mean fast, it's like instant. Let me drop the speed here. 0.7. Let's just lower the blend in and blend out. Actually, the blend out can actually be higher, but the blend in needs to be like really low. It's kind of so the enemy kind of snaps into that position. Yep. Okay, that's a lot better. Now, the last thing is to actually set the enemy, enemy's character movement mode similar to the way we set our player. So when we launch the enemy, how do we want to do this? Now this could get problematic. Actually, we can set it right here. Yeah, you know what? Just set it here. Set it here in the custom event, so we don't clutter our get hit reaction, because we already added a function in there, which isn't the purpose of that function, but it's fine. So that's why we're gonna do the rest like this. Movement mode, we're set to flying. Now similarly with the player, we're gonna need a reset state function. So reset state. Do we have that? Do we actually have a reset state? Oh, we do. Perfect. Right here, we're gonna set movement mode. I'm gonna set it to walking. Now let's see, in the AM launch or the air, we're gonna need an anim notify for our enemy. So for our base enemy, anim notifies, duplicate this, call it AM underscore reset state. On called, we are going to, we already have a reset state. What am I doing? What on earth am I doing? We already have a reset state. So let's just call it reset state. Enemy reset state, and it should be at the very end, after everything has happened. And then the blend out, let's make it like sinusoidal or quadratic, so it gets like a more quicker blend out. Cool thing is that we go up just about the same time, which is nice, but we don't fall at the same speed we went up, which is gonna look a bit weird, and it still does. Thankfully we have an enemy, makes it an okay. Let's actually drop this a bit, maybe around lower, so the enemy starts falling before we do. It's because like the player does fall faster than the enemy, and that's because the animation was able to blend out faster, or the animation played faster, so the reset state was called earlier. There you go, so that's a lot better. Yeah, I definitely like that a lot more. Okay, yeah, really like that a lot more. So the enemy is able to launch into the air. Player is able to launch into the air. Once we get AIs working, we're also going to probably get some issues with the launching system, because the enemies could probably attack in the air. Of course, we're going to make some boundaries for that to prevent it. Let's reorganize our blueprint real quick. This one's going to be attack. Attack. Make a new category, make it launch. Plug both of these in. And then for the damage, this one's going to be in the damage under launch. So let's make a category for that. Let's plug in our launch animation in there too. Alright, so everything seems to be working. Let's give it one more go. Make sure it's working. Alright, nice. Perfect. Our softlock system should be working nicely. Yeah. Rotations, no issues, nothing. Alright, so yeah. That marks the end of this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.